Have you ever considered what kids would play with before mass-produced dolls came out? Well, one of the things that they would play with is yarn dolls. Yarn dolls are a fun activity to make and play with. When I was a young Girl Scout, I was taught how to make yarn dolls, and in the years since, and many dolls later, I have gone on to teach other kids how to make yarn dolls as well. Today, I will be teaching you how to make yarn dolls. Yarn dolls are a great way to express your creativity and just to have a fun time. So first of all, we need to get the material required. You find some yarn, it doesn't matter what color, any color you like, and you measure it out. The way I measure out my yarn is by using this cereal box. Now it takes a while to measure it out, so I've already prepared it, but I'm going to show you the motions for looping it across the box. You need to make 30 loops long ways and 18 loops short ways. These are separate. So you would go and loop 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Once you have completed all the loops, you get something like this for the long one, and you get something like this for the short one. I went ahead and I also cut out some small pieces of yarn, about 4 inches, to help make the ties. Now we are ready to start making the body. The first step in tying the body is to start with the head. You take your long piece of loops, you take a piece of yarn, and you tie it in the middle of the long loops. One of the most important things that beginners often have problems with is not tying things tight enough. The most important thing in making a yarn doll look nice and making it stay together is tying all of your knots very tight. So now that I have tied the knot in the middle, I have this funky looking thing. So what I do is I go about 1 inch down from the middle, I take another piece of yarn and I tie it around. This will be my neck, making my head. Now we have this little happy ghost. Next, we're going to be making the arms. So you take your short piece, you fold it in half, you fold it in half like this, you take your main body, you unfold it so it's in half again, you take the arms and you place it in between the two halves of the body, and then just fold it back over. Now I have this bug looking thing. So to secure it, I'm going to tie in the waist. So I take another piece of my yarn, tie it below the arms, leaving them out, and surrounding the entire long piece, all of the long pieces of yarn. Again, tightly is your friend. Loose, it will all fall apart and no longer look like anything. Okay, so now I have my yarn doll in a very rudimentary form. The next step is to make the hands at the end of the arms. So what you do is you go to the very end of the arms and you tie a knot at the very ends to make the wrists. Now the doll has a little hand. You do the same on the other one as well. just like that. Now, this is the decision when you decide whether your doll is going to be a boy or a girl. Oh, we made the hands. That is how you make the hands. You take the yarn and you tie it at the end, and then you cut the loops at the end to make your many fingered doll. Now is when you decide whether or not your doll is a girl or a boy. The girls have their nice fancy skirts, and the boys have legs in the same manner that you make the arms. So, for making legs, what you do is you cut all the loops on the end, which eventually all the loops on the end of the doll will be cut like this. Until you have a big scriggly mess. This is where you would stop if you're making a girl. But since we're making a boy, I'm going to split it in half. And just like the hands, take a piece of yarn and tie it at the end to make the ankle. For this demonstration, I have used different color yarn to help clearly define which different parts. But you can use any different color, and you can use the same color if you like it to look a little bit less distracting. Basically, the sky's the limit when you come to yarn dolls. If you think of it, you can probably make it happen if you try hard and long enough. So I encourage you to try whatever you think. Now my yarn doll has a body and is all together. Now comes the time for the final touches. The final touches include making sure all the loops on the end are cut so that there are no loops remaining on the hands or on the lower half. Another final touch is to trim away the extra, such as the ties I used for making the neck, the legs, the waist. However, if you want your doll to have hair, you need to leave the loops, the extra strings at the top. This is vital or your doll is going to be bald. So, one other final touch before we put on hair is to neaten it up. The yarn is all different lengths, so oftentimes, to make it look neat, you can trim it so it's all the same length. Hair is, of course, one of our favorite things to put on yarn dolls. So, what you do is you take a length of looped yarn, put it on the top, take the extra strings that were on the top, and tie it down just as tight. Now you have a yarn doll. Yarn dolls are very fun to make, and they can express your creativities in new ways. I hope you have learned from this video, and the next time you're sitting through a rainy day, you pull out some yarn and start experimenting. Thank you.